All right, continuing saga. I guess this is the engine I took off. That's not running right. So I got another engine. Well, I talked about it before. It's the same basic displacement, and I guess one of the challenges I came up with is the Lovejoy for the pump side. The set screw is seized in there, so I have a new Lovejoy set on order. Other than that, I guess another challenge, I've had a couple of challenges with the pump, is the old pump is 3/4 and the new pump is 1 inch on the suction side. So I had to order an adapter, and so because this is the same as what's on the output of the hydraulic tank, 3/4 inch, so it has to come out from the hydraulic tank as 3/4 and adapt to 1 inch, and then the 1 inch to the input of the hydraulic pump. Another difference that I ran into is, fall down, the original is an O-ring seal and the replacement pump is National Pipe Thread with no O-ring, so I had to go have a hose made up that is without the O-ring seal for the new hydraulic pump. What else? I know there's a ton of other stuff. Oh, the part numbers. See, I'll come over here and get the, this is the, I guess the original. So LFP 1652, if you can read that. And I found this replacement LFP 1652, and then on the what is it, surplus center, I got this and another base for the hydraulic pump, and that's what I was looking at doing over here. This monstrosity. Oh. And the new one, when I ordered that filter, I got a new filter base for it. And the old one is missing the check valve. It's a overpressure check valve, so that if there's too much resistance in the oil filter, it'll bypass the oil filter. So it's basically been running for all its life with an open passage past the filter its entire life, unless it's just rotted out and it's inside the tank, which is also a possibility. So originally it was just this line, and it just came down, it connected into the top of this filter base, and then that threaded right on the tank. So all this I'm adding to put a second filter in it, because of the hydraulic pump is essentially 50% more flow, is all my doing. I contemplated just having the second filter go into the fill plug, because it's also 3/4 inch. They apparently kept things pretty simple on here. So I may have to get some more, you know, because that's a pretty tight corner for the hose, or do something. I don't know. And the part that I'm nowhere near, I've just got some of the pieces to the puzzle if I need it, is the heat exchanger, because I've only got about 4 gallons of fluid to play with. And after doing a bunch of research, I found the power generators and the little engines don't really make that much power. So I came up with another possibility. Is these things are for like those little Jeeps or the Barbie Jeeps and whatnot. And you can replace their original batteries with traditional DeWalt or whatever brand you fancy. And I can run a pump. I'll have the hydraulic side, and most likely I'll just run a water antifreeze mix. Nothing crazy, just, you know, enough antifreeze so that the vast majority of the time around here it's not gonna freeze up. So, you know, if I mix it for 10 Fahrenheit, that's 99% of the weather we have around here. And this nice soggy wet, well, I got a gigantic puddle back here and the pressure washer out from when I was pressure washing the rental excavator and whatnot. So yeah, all these hoses are essentially the better part of 40 years old. Yeah, not very pretty. So I'm going to replace the suction, or that's not suction line, that's return line to tank. And I've got the Lovejoy couplings coming, because I can't mount the new hydraulic pump to the well, that's the other thing. Take that out, but you can see, maybe you can see the length of that shaft. I had to cut the shaft back on this one a fraction of an inch to make the whole shebang match up, because if I attempt to line this thing up here, there's barely any thread sticking out of these bolts. Well, that one's all the way up flush. So, you know, ideally, well, you don't want these hitting each other. That's why you got this thing. So you want to be able to squeeze it down, if I show it in the picture, on this, and then the two ends of the drive shafts are not touching each other, and then any miscellaneous, you know, small amount of play, very minor amounts of play, are taken up by the Lovejoy, so that you're not wallering out the end of the shaft or whatnot. And so the worst case scenario is this plastic disc gets destroyed, and in theory you catch it. We did have one fire pump, and it wore it completely out, and then it destroyed the metal then. So you have to, of course we were, I think we were watering the garden, so it wasn't an earth-shattering thing. And then once I get it running and verified and everything installed, I'll put this funky muffler on there so that this silly thing isn't as loud as your average wood splitter. So anyway, yeah, these all come up as 10 micron, but when there's nearly a ½ inch hole allowing fluid to go bypass the filter, this thing has essentially lived its entire life without a hydraulic filter, unfortunately. So apparently we've kept it clean. We've never, of the few things on it that are still original, the packing in the cylinder is still original. It's never been torn into the cylinder to replace. I've thought about, you know, some kind of a bushing, if I can show it on camera here. You know, it's got a tip to it, and put a plastic bushing or a forked piece of metal down in here so that it stays straighter and it's not twisted over to the side, because it's getting close to touching there. It's not there, but it's been getting closer and closer over the years. So anyway, waiting on more parts, and then I'm gonna get another, unfortunately I'm gonna get another filter base, because, you know, what's the point of doing all this work on the filter and still not having the fluid go through a filter? That's kind of, I'm be better off just hooking the hose straight back to tank, because that thing wasn't doing a bit of good. And my logic in going to this, I don't think anybody else has, so I might be canoeing up a creek that is absolutely pointless, but hey, I'm gonna give it a try, because water's ability, that my theory I'm working on is water is far more capable of absorbing heat than hydraulic fluid is, or in the case of what I'm going to be going to, synthetic automatic transmission fluid. Eventually I'll get a ability to weld this and hold it up there, and I want to put basically a water something. I don't know what I'm going to use. I figure, you know, even if I just do it with just water, I've got gazillions of plastic jugs and whatnot, and I could just have a 4, 5, 6 gallon container of water, and, you know, I get done using it in the wintertime, I can just, if I don't put any antifreeze in it, I can just dump it out, and then the next time I come up with another 5 gallons of water. Or even, you know, if it's the summertime, I could go up with 2 containers of water, and I could heat one container up to 120 degrees and then stick the hoses into the next 5 gallon container of water, and I'm starting back out at room temperature. So, you know, I don't know how it's gonna, I'm hoping there's enough, you know, obviously everybody knows 9 amp hours, 6 amp hours, 12 amp hours. And then I think these ones are a lot less. I don't even know if I hold it the right way. You can 3. That one's a 3. 3, 4, and 5 are all the same size cases. So anyway, that's my progress report on my little project to take over the world. So, well, I did the other video doing the initial startup and short test run of the new engine. This pump is still good. It isn't destroyed in any way, so if I can come up with a, I don't know, hay elevator or something, of course then I'd have to come up with another hydraulic pump. I might be better off just doing it with pulleys, because I've got a little 3 horse Briggs & Stratton. It's a flathead Briggs, but it has essentially no hours on it. It's basically 0 hours on the thing. It had about the world's smallest pressure washer pump on it, and the pressure washer pump doesn't really do what it's supposed to do, or I'm just so used to a higher powered pressure washer. It just seems like a really pathetic pressure washer, I guess. Anyway, continuing saga. Wanted to get this done before it goes dark. You probably can't tell in the video because I got lights on here, but I'm T minus